Hello and welcome back to another episode of Honey Sundays. Today, I can't wait to share this because I feel like I've shared it with a few friends and I feel like everyone is thinking it, but no one's really talking about it. You know, those thoughts in your head that you're like, maybe it's just me that's having this thought, but then come to realize everyone's having this thought. Taking you back, I also wrote a Substack on this. If you're not in my Substack, please join. I'm writing them once a month now that I'm doing the podcast, but I really try to make them full of information and very informative. And I just feel like those are where the true updates are and things that you can, tuck away for later if you need them. So going back, yesterday was a great day. This was a great week overall, but yesterday it was beautiful weather. It was a little bit windy. I had my daughter. I was off for the day. And I was just tired. I was feeling so tired all day. And it didn't really make sense because I slept pretty good the night before. And I don't know why I was feeling so fatigued and bleh of not wanting to do anything. And I was thinking of when we were kids, how I don't know if this was your childhood, but this was definitely mine. Woke up early, like 6 o'clock for school, went to school all day, then had practice of some kind, some sport, came home, showered, had dinner, did homework, went to bed. Or if I didn't have sports, I was going to a friend's house or I was going to another activity. It was just limitless energy. I never even drank caffeine, obviously. Now I drink caffeine and I still feel tired. And it's just different seasons, but energy was created for us. We were doing things that filled us up all day. Maybe school wasn't the most fun, but you were still with your friends. You were still in structure. You were still away from home, which I think environment just changes things. And then you had sports practice or whatever was after school. Maybe there was a football game that night or a friend's soccer game or something that you went to. There were always things to do. And especially when you think about summertime for kids, got up, ate breakfast, and then was gone all day. Riding bikes in my neighborhood, going to the pool, going to someone's house, having volleyball practice. Sometimes we would have camps and it would be 2-a-days during the camps where you'd have practice in the morning, come home, eat. I would sometimes swim in my friend's pool and then we'd go back to volleyball practice. It's just like never ending, but that was the best kind of tired. Do you remember that? Like when we still get this, like when you're on the beach all day and you're playing or you're with people, like you're exhausted, but in such a fulfilled way. And I was telling my husband yesterday, I'm like, I get tired from the gym, but not, and I get energized a little bit, but it's lacking so many other things. And I'm glad I do it, but it's not full. It's not that feeling of fullness. And going back to this concept of energy is created, I was looking and filling in the gaps of what are these feelings that I am searching for? And it was community, nature, movement, proximity of being around people like kids in the neighborhood, whatever. And we can create this again. I don't think we're tired. It's that our days aren't, sometimes it might not feel like there's purpose, even though there is purpose. But like if you're going to work every day and then going to the gym and then going home, maybe you're single and you're just eating dinner alone and then going to bed, that can be one thing. Or say you have 3 kids and it's the same thing. You're working, come home, make dinner, do the kids' homework. It can feel very mundane. Is it life-giving? It was planned for us as kids, usually by the school, by our parents, by whoever. But now, can we plan it for ourselves? And that is kind of my question for myself, but then also sharing it with you guys of I want, especially now that the weather's getting better, like I want to do all these things. I don't even have a bike. I was telling my husband, I was like, we need to get bikes. Why don't we bike ride anymore? Just the simple things that you liked doing as a kid. What do you miss and how can you implement it now? And I talk about this a lot on this podcast, a lot in my content, Substack and things like that. I work with clients every single day, and I will say majority of their health stuff that they are coming to has stress as one of the root causes. Yes, there's parasites. Yes, there's things that they can test for, and there's deficiencies, of course, all of that. But what is the underlying thing? And the deeper I get, usually we identify something that is going on. I had a client for a long time. He wasn't getting better and he was going through a divorce. He told me at one of our last sessions. And my point is that there's only so much that you can do in terms of health and in terms of dialing in your diet and working out every day and all those things. But if you are not feeling fulfilled and on purpose for your life, then none of that matters. It really doesn't. It's not going to give you longevity. The guy, what's his name? Brian something, that's trying to live till he's 130 or something. I'm sure you guys have seen him. He's on Netflix. His life looks unfulfilling. I don't know if you've seen the documentary. He doesn't have a girlfriend, doesn't have a wife. He has one son, and he is so regimented in his health, and he's a billionaire, but he spends it on all these things. He can't even go live. He can't even really travel because he has all of these things that he's tied himself to in order to optimize his health. It's like, how can we create this gratitude, this joy, this presence that we all had as children, but we just stopped noticing it. We stopped noticing the ladybug that's on the leaf, or we started noticing the time. That was another thing. What is something that you do that you forget about your phone, that you forget about what's next, and you forget about your responsibilities? Like, I want to live in that. I don't know about you, but I want to live in that state as much as possible, because that's when I'm having fun. That's when I'm usually outside with friends, with family, doing something where you kind of just forget about everything else. And I think as adults, we just lose it. Even if we're outside with our kids, we're checking our phone or listening to a podcast or listening to an audiobook or something. We might really enjoy that. That's great. But it's like half in, half out, and we're still on the clock of got to make dinner, got to do this, got to do this. Obviously, we're also adults and we have responsibility, and that's valid to have some semblance of reality and what you need to do next. But at the same time, if you're like me and you're struggling with some of this mundane and in the day to day and not feeling hype for life, then this is what I came up with and this is what we can do. So, some of the obstacles is doing it alone. And again, if you're a parent or if you're single, you're working, you're going to the gym, you're coming home, you're having dinner, it can be really lonely. I love hanging out with my daughter. I love hanging out with her. She's my favorite person, of course. However, going to the park with just her or going to the park with some of our friends or neighbors where the kids are playing, you're talking, like, it just is so much more fun for me as the parent and for her because she's usually playing with other kids. And this past Wednesday, my friend and I both have Wednesdays off usually, or open. She has a 2-year-old and my daughter's 18 months. I just texted her at 7:30 in the morning. It was rainy and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing today? Do you want to take the kids somewhere?" And having that community has been just such a gift because I was going to take her to the kids museum regardless. However, going with a friend is so much more fun. Again, for me, for my daughter, for both of them, they just had a blast. Part of the creating in this process is we really just have to be able to plan it more ahead of time. We can create these experiences, but you do just have to plan it. If you're if you have a job, if you have kids, it just takes a little bit more intention, but you can absolutely create this life you want. One of our things that we planned and wrote down as a goal for this year is every month to host people at our house once a month. So one Saturday night, and we make dinner. If they have kids, if they don't have kids, doesn't matter. We've had single friends over, we've had friends with 3 kids over, and it's just there's no expectation except like, let's hang out. They can play outside, they can play here, or if it's just our single friend, I mean, he's just hanging out while we're making breakfast and catching up and doing life. There's something about inviting people into your home and just creating a space for that community without all of these ties and expectations. And having that as a goal for once a month, I do have to plan ahead. I have to plan on what Saturdays are we not traveling. We're actually going to do one next Saturday. So inviting people ahead of time because they need plans. Here's the thing about this whole concept is that many people want this. They just don't want to plan it. They're waiting for someone else to do it. Again, this is how we grew up. It was already planned for us. So they are waiting for someone to just be like, hey, want to come to this event? Because planning the event sounds like so much more work, especially if you have kids, especially if you're, or just trying to coordinate like 10 single friends or 5 single friends. It's just hard to get everyone on the same schedule. But if you're invited, it's so much of an easier yes. But if we want to create this, if we want to create energy, if we want to create this fun life, then we do have to plan it out. Another thing is creating anchors in your week. I talked last week about what my day-to-day looks like and my systems for my week, and I really think those help a lot. I will say the gym is probably one of the easiest ones. I like my gym. I don't love it. I don't have a ton of community there. That's why I don't love it. I need to find more community or find a friend that I can get in. I might actually switch gyms for this reason and try to find people that I can work out with because, again, you're hitting all these boxes. So, for example, how can you habit stack what you're already doing? If you have friends going to the gym, okay, can you guys join the same gym? Can you join even for like a month or two and just see if you like it? Because then you're hitting on community, you're catching up with friends, you're moving. It's accountability, which is huge. Probably both of you are going to be so much more accountable and probably progress a lot but more. Maybe you take your kid to a music class every Wednesday morning. Okay, can you invite a friend there? And that can be your anchor in the week where it's something a little bit more fun for you as well because you're stacking on this experience. The next one, in terms of anchors, this is run clubs. This is who do you want to be around is a really important question because if you want to build like-minded community, then where do you want to meet them? If you don't want to drink anymore, I would not encourage you to go looking for friends at the bars. I would try to hang out with people when they're in the same season. So again, the gym's an easy one, but like a run club or I just joined a volleyball league. It ended. We lost very bad. We were probably last in the whole tournament, but it was really fun and I'm glad we did it. And it was one, again, that habit stack of meeting people, meeting new people, getting movement in every week, something to look forward to every week. It was every Sunday afternoon. Like it was such a blast. So how can you tag things that like really hype you up? Volleyball is one of those things where I can play for hours and it's so fun. I'm not even that amazing. I'm also 21 weeks pregnant. We're slower now. We're not as agile, but it is still so fun to get out there and doing that. I would do that instead of a workout 10 out of 10 times for sure, because the time goes by so much faster and you're with people and it's hitting on all of these other levels. Going back to this whole root of this is I want my life to be full of experiences and I want my kids to be full of experiences. And unless we plan them, they're just not going to fall into our lap. You have to plan the trip. You have to save for it. You have to put in effort in order to have fulfilling experiences. You can't just wait for them to fall in your lap. Yeah, you'll have some, but you're never going to go on vacation if you don't plan the vacation, or you're never going to get in the best shape of your life if you don't hire a coach or join the gym or put money towards it. And some of these experiences can be they can be free. Every Friday, you could meet a friend at the park, kids, no kids, or just a lunch walk if you work remote, especially something that is ongoing that you can look forward to. I had a client once and I asked him what he would do if he got the next 2 days off or I forget what I asked him. Basically, like if he had all this free time and got paid for it, what would he do? And his answer was so simple. It was read a book and plan a family day and then go on a date with his wife. And I was like, okay, great, plan it. We meet every 2 weeks. And I was like, plan this out and let me know how it is. He didn't have to plan it within the 2 weeks, but he planned it within the next month. And at the end of our sessions, he was like, I think that was one of the best things I did. Keep in mind, I'm health coaching him. He came to me for his cholesterol. And that's the fulfilling part. Him and his wife did go on a date. And I think they did take the kids somewhere that they hadn't been. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can plan a picnic in the park and go pick up Jimmy John's or make your own sandwiches if you want it to be more feasible. It's just creating these experiences. And in our culture right now, we're always looking at everyone else's experiences and, oh, they live on the beach or, oh, they're doing this. But here's what I can guarantee you. The beach gets really old when you're going there alone. Where it is the people you're around and who you're with every single time. Is same with your health. I mean, health is obviously important to take care of because how you feel dictates how you show up in every single part of your world. As a parent, as a spouse, as an employee, as a coworker, as a friend, as a daughter, as a son, how you are feeling is going to dictate how you show up that day in that conversation or in whatever you are doing. So, yes, take care of your health, but try to compound these things. How can you make it the most life giving experience in your day to day? And how can you check more boxes and have more things to look forward to? I'm just going to share my ways. I've shared a few of them. One is the monthly dinners. That's been on our list so far. We're only 4 months into the year. It's April. But one way is the monthly dinners. We have done 3 out of 3. Next week, we will have people over. So that'll be 4 out of 4, which I'm really proud of. And I read this article that inspired that. And they were having, I think it was weekly, they were having people over for dinner. And I was like, okay, that's a really big commitment. I don't know if I want to cook for like 7 people every Saturday night. Also with travels and stuff, it's hard. So my husband and I agreed we're going to do once every month. It's been great. It's been so fun. And hosting at your house instead of going out to dinner, this is especially if you have children, but since we have kids and some of our friends have kids, it's just easier. They can run around, they can play. We have the toys, they're contained in some semblance of the word, and then we can just hang out and chat. So that's one of them. I mentioned my gym, love my gym, but I actually might switch to go where more friends are going and it's a little bit more expensive. However, I don't really care because again, the accountability, the I got in the best shape of my life last year and it's when I had the highest amount of accountability. I was working out with the same 3 girls. It was called Quad Squads every single week. And again, it's only 3 girls plus me, so 4 of us and our coach every single time. They know if you don't show up, they know the accountability is as high as it can be. The price point was high, the accountability was high, and the results were the highest I've ever had. So might switch gyms, do that. I need to plan and look into that a little bit more. And then also just some of the simple things. We're going to look at a used bike shop and going to try to buy a bike today and implement more of these things that are just really fun and light. And the last thing that I am doing to implement this and trying to create this in my own life is hosting a retreat. I'm going to host it this June. It's going to be in Colorado in the mountains. It's going to be gorgeous. The house is booked. A lot of things are already booked. So I'm so excited for this because it's really bringing everything that we're talking about in this podcast to life of community, like-minded individuals. Yes, there's going to be some stuff on health just because naturally that's what people know me for and what I do every single day. But it's going to be being outdoors with friends, growth-oriented things. However, it's not going to be something that we really have to strive for. It's supposed to be easy, and I want to plan it. If you are interested in being at this retreat, it's obviously a women's retreat. Sorry, fellas. I don't know if any fellas are interested in this, but please DM me on Instagram or comment on this or whatever. Find me on socials, find my number from someone and text me and ask me the details because I really cannot wait for this. And I think we just have to plan it. And now I'm taking the reins. I'm going to plan it for you. So it is just done. It's going to be so fun. What is already planned and who I've already talked to and have prepared to come is going to be a blast. So I'm so excited for this. If you have questions, let me know. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. If this resonates, please share it with a friend. Please share it with whoever you think you would really love listening to this. And please, yeah, give me your feedback. Let me know how you're implementing it. What are you going to do this week or this month or plan ahead of time? Is that something that you can look forward to? Or what's a shift that you're making? right now too. So as always, please like and rate the show. And I'm so thankful for you being here. I truly am so thankful for each and every one of you listening. This has been such a fun season of creating, and I hope I can just do it more and more, but also serve you as best I can. So I will talk to you soon and have a sweet Sunday.